when you started coming back in the mid 90s before Seasoned Veteran came
Mhm.
and you were doing these appearances, why do you think like because I always thought Heavy in the Game would have maybe gotten a little bigger. Um,
Was that me with me and Tupac?
yeah.
Was that on his album? That was on Me Against
Yeah,
the
yeah.
World.
Me Against the World, which I think is his best album.
Me too.
Uh,
There's a lot of good shit on that record. That was a very dope record.
so do you think it was because there's a lot of factors with that song in particular and that Me Against the World album. Of course, he was incarcerated during the time. Do you think that was the main thing that didn't make it blow? Because the album still sold a lot, but I always was like, that was one of those things where I thought for you and for him, and then overall, that album is just such a phenomenal piece of work.
You know what's crazy? A lot of people say that's my best verse. Like that's their favorite verse of mine. Yeah,
Really? Okay.
I get a lot of people talk about that verse. Like they talk about that verse taught me everything I needed to know about the street. Like I learned how to hustle off of that verse, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. I had a lot of songs that I thought should have gotten way bigger that didn't. That was one of them. I had the T-Boz joint, the
Hmm.
Touch Myself. The reason they say that didn't blow, the remix caught kind of late. Uh, I've had songs that I've done with other people that I thought should have got bigger, but I think we go back to my position in this music game and my handler, the 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 powers that be. I just don't think they want it big and mainstream for me. I just don't think that was ever meant for me because I put forth the records that could have and should have done those things. And the fact that you said, "Damn, what do you think that was the reason that record didn't take off, or what?" I really don't know because I've had that record. I've had like I said, the T-Boz record to me was supposed to catapult me to that level, but I just don't think it was ever in the cards for me to swim in that water.
But let me ask you, now that you're saying that, it makes me think to something else you said earlier, which was the mountain and where you were and where you were comfortable. Maybe
Right.
it's because you didn't, you tried to get in the game and you got in the game. You tried to be successful, you were successful. You tried to sell a lot of units, be known, you were. But you also didn't try to get to the apex of the mountain. So do you think maybe that's part of what it is? Because as we know, what you try to get and what your intentions are, often
Right.
you get what you ask for a lot of the time.
Right. Well, I think once, and like when you're on a label and you're making those kind of records, all I can do is put the lyrics on the record. From there, it's out of my hands. Now it's up to the label to promote and XYZ. There's not much I can do to make a record go further than it went. It's not like I didn't show up for videos or I didn't show up to perform. Like I tried to short circuit these records. These are just records that they ended up how they ended up. Some of them blew up, some of them didn't. Um, when I was in it, I wanted it. When I got to Def Jam, I wanted to be huge. I wanted that. But when I say I didn't want to be the top dude, is I don't think I ever wanted that. But I did. I mean, I wanted to be amongst the top dudes. You know what I mean? But those things just never happened. I don't think that's in my control as an artist. My job is to put the bars on the record that need to be on the record. And then from there, the labels are supposed to promote these records. All these records you're talking about are major labels. Interscope had that record. Uh my Def Jam stint, the T-Boz record, LaFace and them had that record. So I kind of believe that I'm where I'm supposed to be. And for a lot of reasons, because I look at all the shit that has happened since then. I mean, we can take Irv Gotti. Irv is a good dude, good friend of mine. I learned a lot from Irv watching how he moved inside those Def Jam offices and how he smashed for DMX, how he forced DMX down Def Jam's throat when they didn't think that, you know, X was what he was. And I look at a lot of the people who I'm not gonna sit here and say I envied their position in the game, but I was like, damn, like why they all not working my record like that? And I look at a lot of these guys that lost their lives. Pop, my boy Shakir Stewart. Irv just did with like a $300 million deal, and whatever happened with Irv, it just seems like the universe puts Rich where it wants Rich at. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I have to take it the way it comes. Now on my independent records, I can say, yeah, I didn't promote these records like I should have because I didn't know how to promote them. And I wasn't willing to spend all the money it took to promote them because I was spending my money on motorcycles and boats and cars. Like that's what I wanted to do with my money. I wanted to buy toys and shit that I wanted to play with. So I probably could have promoted those records a lot better. But once the records are in the hand of the machine, you know, that's beyond my control. So I didn't short circuit heavy in the game. I didn't short circuit the Touch Myself remix. I went in there and gassed the motherfucker, and it went the way it went.
Well, you're still here though. That's the beautiful thing. And
Right.
and still doing it at a high level. So, man, Richie Rich, it's been an honor and a privilege, man. Thank you so much for coming through the Unique Access. Hopefully get to do it again sometime, but really appreciate your time.
Yeah, stay with me, man. And anybody who watches your channel, man, check me out. Can I drop all of my woo wops?
Of course.
So on social media, it's the real Richie Rich. The is spelled THA, and then Richie is spelled RICHI, never with a T. A lot of people put a T in it. So I'm at the real Richie Rich on Instagram, Twitter, the real Richie Rich. I got merch that I sell. You can't see it because he's got this auto focusing camera that whenever that logo gets in there, his camera just it. But
The
yeah,
double R.
yeah, if you want to grab you a piece of merch, this is my we call this the hug the loved ones, kiss the babies. We that's one of my slogans that I've been running. So, but I got a lot of cool merch, all my nostalgic t-shirts from the 415 album, back to the Don't Do It album cover, the Seasoned Veteran album cover. I got that all on t-shirts, and that merch can be purchased at www.doubleworldwide.com. Double has always been spelled like bubble, so it's DUBBLE. So you got www.dubbleworldwide.com. You can pick up the merch. Follow me on Instagram. Check out what I'm doing. Me and LaRussell got a lot of shows we doing. I also want to shout out LaRussell. He was a pivotal point in my resurgence with that injury that happened in his backyard, which was unfortunate, but fortunately, it cast me back into the light. And I had a record already ready to drop. So I ended up putting the rush on the record. And man, that's about it, man. I'm just working. Uh Always looking to, you know, get new fans and offer anything I can to the game. I'm a student of the game, but I'm also a teacher of the game. And one thing you can count on when you purchase a Richard record is the information is solid information and is vetted. I'm not gonna never push you down a street that I ain't been down. And I just try to give people the dopest information in the music while still making the music dope to listen to.